Now, as you know, I have always thought that the voice was an act of constitutional self-harm. Why would we have thought for a moment that it was a good idea to give just one group of people a special say over how all of us are governed based on their ancestry? Why would we have thought for a moment that having this voice entrenched in our constitution with its own special chapter, no less, would be a mere advisory committee, as a PM tries to tell us? Why would we have thought for a moment that further empowering the same voices, like Noel Pearson and Marsha Langton and others, that have been driving Indigenous policy for years would suddenly make a dramatic difference to the lives of those in remote Australia? Especially when we already have 11 individual Indigenous voices in the National Parliament, which should be the place where all of us have an equal chance to be heard by the people we all elect to serve us. All of us. We all elect them based on our democratic system and not the colour of our skin. Well, the longer this debate has lasted, the more reservations people quite rightly have over this divisive voice, with support in the latest Newspoll today falling to just 34%. If the polls are to be believed, and that's an if, this is the Australian electorate reasserting their control over the political class who have tried to tell them for months, indeed decades, what to say, what to think, and then withhold critical detail in the case of this referendum that's designed to hide its true and very radical agenda. I just hope that today's polls don't lull people into assuming it's all over and stop manning polling booths and, God forbid, not bother even to vote. Even now, there is still immense moral pressure to guilt people into voting yes based on the wrongs that some of our ancestors may have perpetrated against some Indigenous Australians' ancestors. As if people should today be compensated for crimes they haven't suffered by people who never committed them. Of course, there's a lot happening right now. The horrors we see in other parts of the world, plus the cost of living pressures that millions of families are under. Mortgage repayments, we know, having doubled over the past 12 months, unaffordable power bills, the cost of food being put on our table or petrol in our car, making it tough for so many. But this referendum on Saturday is a watershed moment for our country. Are we to remain, in Bob Hawke's immortal words, a country with no hierarchy of descent, no privilege of origin? Or are we to be divided henceforth into two classes of Australian based on how long some of our ancestors have been here? And like so much that happens to us, the outcomes here on Saturday are entirely in our hands. We the people get to decide. We the people get our say. So let's make this rejection of any attempt to divide us by racial lines as strong and as emphatic a no as possible.